We're here for a reason. I have a tax relief plan, the Mike Kaplowitz tax relief plan, and it will save county and local taxpayers 35% or more on their local property taxes, their county property taxes. And this plan, the Kaplowitz tax relief plan, will save millions of school tax dollars for school tax property payers. When I have been going door to door, seeing literally thousands of individuals at their homes, they are telling me with one voice that the number one concern for them are property taxes. The ability to stay in their home, to live in the Hudson Valley, to not have to move where they've been for so many years, and even perhaps the hope that their children get to move into the Hudson Valley, or their parents get to stay in the Hudson Valley and don't have to leave. In fact, our local property taxes are 79% higher than the average throughout the country. Why is that? It's not because of Putnam County or Westchester or Dutchess. It's because New York State, the legislature, the government, the system has pushed down to the property taxpayer the burden of government, the mandate to accomplish things without the dollars to be able to accomplish those things, and it comes out in oppressive property taxes. Now, I've delivered results in Westchester County. For the last 12 years, a member of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, 4 of those as chairman of that committee. We have cut wasteful spending in taxes to the tune of $120 million, or $10 million per year on average. $10 million by pouring over line by line by line. Westchester County alone has 6,000 lines. Putnam has hundreds and hundreds. Dutchess the same. And it's the same in every single county throughout the state. And professionally, I've made my living working with small business owners and families doing exactly the same thing, which is going through their budgets and finding ways that they can survive and pay their bills and thrive and put money aside for the important things in life. You know that 1 in 4 New Yorkers are currently on Medicaid? 25% of the entire state taps into the Medicaid system. The cost for Medicaid, it's one of the highest cost items for the state. It's currently $50 billion a year in expense. It is projected to go up to $63.5 billion, or a 26% increase over the next 3 years. It will put us all out of business. It will bankrupt homeowners and businesses unless we do something about it. And with the new federal health care bill that was passed, even more people will be eligible, even more dependence upon Medicaid. So the first thing that we must do to get a handle on this tremendous problem is that the state of New York must take back all the Medicaid costs. It costs $9 million a year for Putnam County residents for Medicaid just through their county budget. You pay for that in property taxes. In Westchester, it costs $200 million a year in Medicaid costs. It is approximately 35 to 40% of the county property tax budget is simply Medicaid related. Why? It's a health insurance program for poor people. It should be on the state dime, not on the county taxpayer dime. And when, in fact, Medicaid is then pulled back to the state, you then have oversight and accountability. Ravitch is suggesting, and I think it needs to go on the table, that, in fact, instead of the legislature, for example, setting Medicaid rates, the payment, the reimbursements, that a state health agency and those who know with expertise from those in the real healthcare business. The issue of fraud, Medicaid fraud, has been often talked about. The problem with the Medicaid system, again, that which is blowing up our property taxpayer at the county level, is Medicaid. The problem with the system is that the accountability is too diffuse. The local social services are not rewarded, for example, in rooting out abuse. We need to be able to have people in the social services, on the ground, in the trenches, those who are actually delivering these services, be able to root out potential Medicaid fraud and abuse of the system. I spoke to someone in Westchester who works for social services, and she confidentially told me that she has seen and she is aware of abuses. She is aware of
but that we need whistleblower protections. We need the Medicaid fraud efforts to get down to the level of. And if New York State, out of one entity, runs it and pays for it, they will have the incentive to control those costs. School taxes. We need to put everything on the table. First and foremost, I will support Andrew Cuomo as governor in a 2% property tax cap. We need a cap because we need the discipline, and with that discipline and with that cap, schools and communities will then learn to budget to that number. But we also have to put on there a circuit breaker protection. What is that? That provides relief for homeowners that might be locked in a house with a lot of value, but very little income coming in every year. Maybe only Social Security, clipping some coupons on bonds, some investment income, a small pension. They can't afford to stay here because they're locked into high home values. We need a circuit breaker which says, like an electric circuit breaker, it throws itself. It stops the payments. The state then would pick up, based on your income, dollars on top of what the homeowners can't afford to pay. And finally, we need comprehensive mandate relief. We cannot have a state program that's run out of, for example, the Education Department in Albany, that big building, that big behemoth, that castle in Albany, that directs what all the school districts need to do, but doesn't provide any dollars for them, doesn't give them procurement flexibility, doesn't give them purchasing flexibility, provides educational mandates, health mandates for them, but doesn't provide the dollars to do it. It's easy for an Albany bureaucrat to say, you must do something, but without the dollars, it's unfair, and the property taxpayers pay. We can wring out millions of dollars out of the property tax, the school property tax system. Busing, I'll give you one example. Right now, transportation is mandated to a large extent by Albany. And there is a mandate, a requirement, that there be a seat on every bus for every student in every district. It costs money to put buses with enough seats. But ironically, the local communities that know their busing best have to pay for many more bus seats than they need. My high school students, when they were in high school, my kids, when you get to high school, it wasn't cool. It wasn't appropriate, they believe. They wanted to take a ride with a friend to get to high school. And so they wouldn't be caught dead on the bus if they could help it. And yet, there was a necessity to provide a seat for them every single day while their friend gave them a ride, or they were able to bum a ride off of someone. And so we need that local experience, and we need that mandate relieved, because the locals know, in fact, what's best for them and how to cut their costs. So what is this all about? This opportunity to put a Kaplowitz State Senate tax relief plan hones in on the one issue, the biggest issue, the most critical issue of all. It's the ability of taxpayers to stay in their homes and to be able to prosper and thrive and remain Hudson Valley residents.